This is Chrissy cooking at home. I'm Chrissy. I know, shocking. This video, I am going to be making a homemade fudge round. I believe that's a Little Debbie snack cake. I believe that's the brand. I just know that I buy it sometimes. I make these chocolate fudge cookies, and today I'm going to make them into a sandwich cookie. So come along with me as I try to make these into a sandwich cookie. Hopefully the frosting will not make them too moist and they won't fall apart. Fingers crossed for that. But I know that the cookie is a really good cookie and I just haven't made it in a while, and I just wanted to make it into a fudge round. Ready to get started? Let's go. Okay, so I think I have everything out. I didn't want to waste time with things you don't care about. Let's, get to baking some cookies. Now this cookie is a recipe handed down from my great-grandmother, Nellie, who my daughter, who's almost 10 months old now, is named after, Little Miss Nellie. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know about Miss Nellie, my little surprise baby. So, let's try and turn chocolate drops into fudge rounds, shall we? Should have put my apron and towel on before. I like to tie my string around the front and then tuck a towel in my apron string and wipe my hands on the towel. My cat just snorted and it sounded like a pig. Not that you care, but that was weird. All right, oven preheating to 350 on my convection setting. That's how I pretty much bake just about everything. Now, in my stand mixer that I have plugged in, she's my beast, we're going to beat 2.5 sticks of butter. And this is salted butter. You can use unsalted. This has been sitting at room temp, so it's nice and soft. There. And now we're going to beat the butter until it is nice and creamy. Okay? I feel like I want you... Still trying to work on my camera angles. Some days I swear that's not that great. And other days I feel like, hey, that's pretty darn good, Chrissy. And it's all on the sides now, so I'm just gonna get it off the sides. Now we're not going for fluffy, we're just going for creamy. That's pretty creamed up. Okay. Just using the beater to get the butter off my rubber scraper. Now we want 2 cups of granulated basic white sugar. It okay? 1 cup. 2 cups. Okay, now we're done with granulated basic white sugar. You can use raw sugar. I don't think it'll change. And my oven is preheated. You hear the 6 beeps. I don't think it'll change the integrity is what I'm getting at. I don't think it'll change the integrity of the recipe if you did raw sugar. Now we are going for light, fluffy with the butter and the sugar. Slowly increasing our speed because we don't want it to explode. BRB. Sorry about that. There was a diabetes issue. Anyways, back to this. I just went ahead and scraped down the sides real quick while I was helping Logan with his insulin pump. So anyways, now back to this. I scraped down the sides. We're going to beat this for a couple of minutes until light and fluffy. It's not light and fluffy. It is dense. Okay? So we're going to beat until light and fluffy while Logan plays with the dog. Light and fluffy. So now we're going to add our eggs, which is 2 eggs, and we're going to add vanilla, which I did not get out, but that's okay. It's right above me. So you should always crack your eggs in a separate dish, which I am not doing. So watch me get shells in there. I did not. You do it in a separate dish for shells or in case it's a bad egg. Above me, I'm in the cabinet above the mixer. We want 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Slowly increasing speed. We don't want it to go bleh. Yes, I did that on purpose. We're going to scrape. My eggs, I only pulled out 30 minutes before I started. The butter had been sitting out all morning. It's 11 o'clock in the morning now. I pulled them out at about 6 o'clock this morning. The butter sticks. Can you see? It's nicely combined. Now we're going to move this to the side. Well, I did not get everything out. I'm terribly sorry. I need my sifter. All right. We need 2 cups flour, AP flour. Done with that. I move things to the counter behind me as I use them because of my memory issues. I don't want to think that I forgot something. It helps me remember that I did use it already. That's mainly for things like the baking powder, baking soda, salt, little things like that. We're doing 3/4 cup. I'm using Hershey's cocoa. You just want a baking cocoa, whatever your favorite brand is. My favorite brand is Hershey's. I buy a big container from Sam's Club. And instead of the counter behind me, I'm going to put this back in the cabinet above the stove. Okay. So we're just sifting our dry ingredients together. We're going to do 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Okay? Again, I'm going to put that away. Jostling you around a little bit there. Put those in the sink. Put the breakfast dishes I need to wash. If you've seen any of my life update videos, you know these are the hand washing. These are the dishwashers because I have to hand wash. I don't have an electronic dishwasher. Old school here. It is not necessarily important for this recipe to sift. I mean, it's handy because of the cocoa, but you can get away with just whisking your dry ingredients for this recipe. But if you can use a sieve or a sifter of some kind, I highly recommend. Okay. Come here. I know we put vanilla in, so we're going to put that there. Put that in there. Okay. We're going to drop this down and we're going to scrape. We're even going to scrape our paddle. Attachment. And I'm going to use my finger on the rubber scraper here. As the cats try to destroy my pantry. They can open the doors. Cats, they're amazing animals, aren't they? Okay, so now we're just going to add this and then slowly beat it together so we don't get a big poof. Next is going to come our chocolate chips. Now, usually I like to do mini chocolate chips in this recipe. I don't have any mini. I have regular. I'm going to chop them up a bit. Just make them smaller. You don't have to. It's just something I want to do. The dough's coming together. It's a very dark, stiff dough. Now, we're going to scrape our creamed butter mixture, because you can obviously see it is not mixed in because it is not cocoa. What do you think? I think I'm just going to use my finger to get in the nooks and crannies. We want this blended well, obviously. I mean, why wouldn't you? Let's check the bottom of the bowl. Looks good down there. Smells chocolatey. Yummy, 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 yummy. Now, I know in the fudge round, there's no chocolate chips in the cookies. I know that. My goal is not to be exact. My goal is to be like it. Same flavor profile, really. Now, I chose one of my flex mats, so that way I could get the chocolate chips in easier than my other cutting boards. But, you know, they move. So just a little damp piece of paper towel helps stop it from moving. Right? I'm going to back you up a little bit, babe. Okay, lovelies. Now, I say 1 cup. Okay, 1 cup. Probably going to fast forward through this bit, so you're going to make me go crazy. I'm not on a cooking show, so I'm not actually going to be trying to chop through this fast. If I had mini chips, I wouldn't have bothered to do that. I would have just thrown in 1 cup of mini chocolate chips. But I might like how this turns out better for my purpose. I don't know. I might hate this for my purpose. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not selling these. It's just for my family. So now we're just turning this on just enough to combine these. We're going to keep it on low so as not to strain my motor because she's getting old. Okay, it's not really combining well because the dough is so thick. So we're going to just keep scraping it and just turn it on low, scrape it, turn it on low until I think the chocolate is combined well enough. Tell you what, I have been wanting things with walnuts for months now. I've been wanting baklava. I've been wanting little snowball cookies. When I was growing up, my mom called them, and they might still be called this, I don't know. Somebody told me it wasn't politically correct. But Mexican wedding cookies are actually called snowballs. I don't know. They're like a little shortbread cookie with a lot of really finely chopped up walnuts in them, rolled in powdered sugar. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. They probably have 5 or 6 different names. I don't know. I don't mean any race, any disrespect, ever. It's just a really yummy cookie. And if the name has changed over the decades, then the name has changed over the decades, and I'm fine with that. It's just a really yummy cookie with lots of little walnuts in it. But my point is that I have not made anything with nuts in over a year because Mr. Logan has braces. I'm actually going to move this. So I tend to leave my walnuts alone. I have some almonds too, not much, but I have some almonds. You better believe I used up all my pecans before he got his braces. So I knew it was coming, but I had so much walnuts. I thought I would get these cookies done because Miss Nellie is down for her mid-morning nap before she wakes up for lunch, which today will be a high-calorie mac and cheese. I know you're probably thinking, isn't mac and cheese already high-calorie? Yes, but I'm going to make it even more so. How, you ask? Oh, heavy cream and extra cheese. This is a nice, stiff dough. It's not very good weather for me. My hands have been swollen for days. The arthritis is going nuts. Ha! Nuts, get it? Here I am talking about when we eat nuts. I'm talking about the weather going nuts. I know. Did I really need to explain? No. All right. BRB. I had to wash my hands. So I'm doing a full sheet pan. You can use any cookie sheet pan you have. You just want to make sure you give these cookies plenty of space. And if you're not doing parchment, grease it very well with Crisco, not nonstick spray, or you're going to be sorry. So I like my parchment to lay as flat as possible. So what I keep handy little cheap knife, little cheap blade. Make sure it's all the way up against the edge. And then if it's a good day and I'm not shaking horribly, what I used to do, and I think I've done it on other videos, is fold it, make a line with the fold, and then take scissors and cut on the fold. Now I don't do that anymore. Not since I found this little X-Acto knife. Now I do that. What do you think? I just buy my parchment at Sam's. Comes in a 2-box pack and it lasts me about 2 years, and I do a lot of baking. So it's a wise investment, and it's really high quality parchment in my opinion. Medium scoop. There's really tiny, then there's medium, and then there's really large. I like the large for cupcakes, pancakes, muffins, really large cookies. I like this for regular cookies, meatballs. I like the tiny for really tiny cookies. It's just really nice to have the tiny on hand. I don't use it very often, but I like having it. This one I use constantly. I don't remember how much these spread. It's been a long time, so I'm going to give them lots of space. I just remember they spread a lot. This is a full sheet pan. Normally I can fit about 20 cookies on here. We're not going to go that bold with these cookies. I'm probably going to do 15, maybe-ish. Maybe 12. We'll just do 12. Basic dozen. My recipe says that I should get 4 dozen with this scoop. So I'm going to finish scooping, put this in the oven. My recipe says, that I have all typed up here, that I need 8 to 10 minutes in the oven. So I'm going to check it at 8 because I am on the convection setting, and it tends to bake faster on convection. So we will see. I will bring you back when I pull them out of the oven. They have to sit on the baking sheet for 2 minutes before I pull them off onto a cooling rack. And you want your baking sheet completely cool before you put on the next round. So this takes time. Don't be in a rush on the day you want to make these cookies, whether you do sandwich them like I'm going to, or just make them like this. My original recipe is just to make them like this. So, you know, I'll bring you back. Okay, so I didn't bring you back for the first pan that came out. I was on the phone. So I went ahead and scooped up the second pan. They didn't spread as much as I was expecting, so I scooped up 20. So let's bring them out. You can't see that. Come here, lovelies. Now, can you see that they've poofed? They poofed up. Okay. As they cool, they are going to flatten. And that's what we want. And it's crunchy. When we do the icing filling, because like I said, I want to make it like a fudge round, that's going to help soften the cookie. These are going to be like next day kind of cookies. Next day they were, if I remember correctly, they were chewy cookies. So I'm not going to get, I'm not going to get the 4 dozen. We got 40 cookies total, so we're like 8 short of 4 dozen. That's fine. So I'm just going to let these sit on the baking sheet like they're supposed to for a few minutes, then let the baking sheet cool completely, and then put the rest of the cookies on and bake them for 8 minutes. 8 minutes seems to be working perfectly. And then I'm going to make the icing filling because we want these are completely cool. So what I'm going to do with these, I'm going to put them aside. I pulled out my old Tupperware container. I'm going to put them, can you hear they're a little hard? That's what we want. The icing is going to soften them, and the next day they're chewy. They're a chewy cookie. They're not a soft cake-like cookie at all. So I'm hoping these will turn out the way I want them to, like a fudge round. But like I said, these are a next day type cookie because the icing should soften them. The moisture from the icing, the cookie should draw it in. I hope that makes sense. If you're a baker, that should make sense. If you're not a baker, you'll see what I mean the next day. If you eat them, if you taste one the same day, it's going to be hard, it's going to be crunchy, it's not going to be anything like a fudge round texture at all. At all. So be prepared. Now, I'm going to get things together and we're going to do the icing next. I'm going to try and cut my recipe in half, and it's not even my recipe because why mess with a good thing? Okay, lovelies, I think I got everything ready. Let's make our icing filling, frosting filling. Let's make the filling for the cookies. Okay, got the vanilla. Okay, let's move ya. Okay, I got out my handheld mixer because I don't think we need the giant one. So we're going to cut the recipe in half, but you can find it on the back of the Hershey Cocoa box. I love that recipe. It's fantastic. So I have half a stick of butter. We're going to do 2 tablespoons plus 2 teaspoons of the cocoa in the butter. And we're going to mix that together. form a nice little paste. Usually I make the full recipe for a cake. This is the first time I'm trying to do a halfer. So this is half the recipe on the back of the can of Hershey cocoa. It's a wonderful recipe. I love this chocolate recipe, chocolate frosting recipe. So right now I'm just trying to get the lumpies and just make it into a nice smooth paste. Okay. Now, normally it would be twice that for a full recipe. We're doing half a recipe, so we need 1.5 cups of confectioner's or powdered sugar. I didn't pull out a 1/2 cup measuring cup, so we're just gonna wing it here. Half a teaspoon of vanillars. And 1/2 of a cup of milk. Now, we're going to beat this. With the mixer. It should come together nicely. See why I didn't need the big honkin' mixer? This should be more than enough to fill the sandwich cookies. We're going to scrape it down, and then we're going to beat it some more. We want it nice, fluffy. See, it seems a little loose to me. I might have added too much milk.
What's it eating?
So I am going to add some more powdered sugar. Make sure I get all this cocoa paste. Looks like the cookies are about to come out of the oven in about 1.5 minutes. Okay. So I will BRB. Okay, pulled the cookies out. I'm going to add 1/2 cup more. That should do it to stiffen it. That'll be plenty sweet, plenty stiff, and then gonna leave it as is. Plenty of icing for probably too much too. Okay. Where's my clippy? There's my clippy. Sorry, I didn't mean to put the stand you're on. Now, all the cookies have baked. The last ones just came out of the oven. They're setting up on the cookie sheet. Let's get to filling. These are the ones that are in here, the first ones that baked. Now, I haven't had a fudge round, haven't bought one in, forever. I don't remember. A year or so since I've last bought a box of them. What do you think? Not even in the camera, Bim. Watch what I'm doing, not watching what you can see. Fudge round? Well, I'm not going to make you watch me do all 40 cookies. But I think you get the gist. I mean, I can keep it going and then do fast forward. Well, I just have a few cookies left to cool and to fill, and I believe I have the perfect amount of filling. I didn't overfill the cookies, and it's going to work out just right. So I am going to end the video and say they're looking like the perfect cookie. These are a very fudgy cookie. So it should be like a fudge round. Close to it. So, before I upload this video, at the very end, before my have a lovely day tile, I will put, if it was a success, if it was like a fudge round. I mean, it's going to be yummy. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be, I mean, I think fudge rounds are death by chocolate. So, it's going to be death by chocolate. It's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be identical just because, you know, they have their trade secret like any company would have with their recipe. It's just supposed to be similar. A homemade version. That's all. So I just need to wait for these to cool and then finish filling with the rest of the filling. I think there's going to be a perfect amount to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more cookies. And honestly, that's enough filling for 5 more cookies. Probably 5 more cookies and a few licks. But I have to get dinner started, and that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to move this out of the way, let the cookies finish cooling, because you do not want to put icing on warm cookies, warm cakes, warm brownies. No, 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 never, never, never. So I'm going to move this to my island and get started on dinner, because this is where I need to start dinner. So I will let you know. Thanks, lovelies.